Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Makakadash, Barakatham to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwaf, and I say Shalom. And the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and His unbegotten Son, Ba'ashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are their true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashon Gadash tongue. And I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwaf, once more, and I say Shalom. And this is a prophecy updates as of November the 13th, 2025 on this Thursday. So Akia had a phone call. This is a news article from RT.com, and it reads November 13, 2025. It says Russia will fight as long as Ukraine rejects peace talks. Kremlin reports Kyiv will have to negotiate eventually, but from much weaker position than before. Dmitry Peskov has warned. Ukraine's reluctance to engage in dialogue leaves Russia no choice but to continue towards achieving its goal by military means, Kremlin press secretary Dmitry Peskov has said. Ukrainian Deputy Foreign Minister Shigi Krasdisia told the Times on Tuesday that Kyiv has abundant direct talks with Moscow following 3 rounds of talks in Istanbul, as they made a little progress, that there have been made no meetings since late July. Peskov told journalists on Thursday that the Russian authorities noted that Krasdisia's comments there are important. In fact, these statements formalize de facto situation what the Ukrainian side was unwilling to continue contracts. This is sad, he stressed. In the absence of a possibility to continue the conversation further, we will, of course, continue the military operation in every possible way, the spokesperson said. Peskov warned that the Ukraine side must realize sooner or later it will be forced to negotiate, but from much weaker position. Kyiv's regime position will be worsening every day. It says Vladimir Putin has said that last month that over 10,000 Ukrainian servicemen surrounded in Kaplisky, if I pronounced that right, in the Kraniyomarsky, the Dmytro Paskorov, a Malgrad area in Donbass. The Russian military has reported tightening the encirclement since then, has announced the capture of the eastern part of Kaplisky. Peskov added that Russia really wants peace. Russia is open to resolving the Ukrainian issue through political and diplomatic means, but with the negotiations being stalled, it will rely on its military to ensure the security for further generations and fulfill other tasks set by the country's leadership. Moscow has maintained throughout the conflict that any deal with Kyiv must address the root cause of the crisis and include guarantees Ukraine will never join NATO, along with the country's demilitarization, desertification, and reconnaissance of the territorial realities of the ground. Because Ukraine is still going to be an ally to Ukraine is still going to be an ally to NATO, right along with the European Union and NATO as well too. And the Western backed countries will continue to support is still going to continue to support Ukraine. So those tensions between Ukraine and Russia is going to heat up, and NATO versus Russia that's going to heat up on an everyday basis as well too. So as it says once again, Russia will fight as long as Ukraine reject peace talks, Kremlin has said. And this is it's the book of Matthew 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, that's what we're hearing on a daily basis. The wars and rumors of wars between Russia and Ukraine. It says, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, tensions between Thailand and Cambodia. Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, NATO versus Russia. It says, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Tensions between Venezuela and the United States down there in Latin America. It says, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, right? The pro-Iranian groups going against the defense force. Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but it is not yet. Matthew 24 and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, which goes to ethnos. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. And it says another news article. It says November 13, 2025, it reads, Pentagon top brass offers Trump new military options for Venezuela. CBS News report. The U.S. administration is now reporting to consider airstrikes, but no final decision has been made. It says the top Pentagon officials on Thursday briefed U.S. President Donald Trump of a potential military operation against Venezuela. And CBS News has reported, citing that the number of sources familiar with the meeting. It says Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff Dan King, were among those who presented Trump with new options, including airstrikes against the unspecified targets across the country. No final decision regarding military actions was made at the meeting. Two sources told the outlet Trump has repeatedly accused Venezuelan governments of aiding groups alleging that the country President Nicolas Maduro personally led a DRUG trafficking organization. Washington has increased the bounty on Maduro, right? That was mentioned a couple months ago, which they changed their man on that to a massive $50 million. The U.S. leader ordered Navy forces in the region last month, hinting that it could authorize strikes. Since early September, the U.S. military has carried out dozens of strikes on small boats in the international waters, claiming that vessels are being used by the DRUG smugglers. More than 70 people were unalive in the attacks, according to the media reports. Maduro has strongly denied being somehow involved in the accusing Washington merely fabricating a new war and intervening a pretext of a potential regime change operation. Venezuela has placed its military on high alert, aiming American buildup in the region, and had a series of drills. We are ready to defend the homeland on any terrains and under any circumstances, Maduro said on Wednesday. He posts photos from the latest exercise online. Yep, another sign of wars and rumors of wars. Yep, Matthew 24 verse 6 once again. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, the tensions have been heating up for the past 3.5 months, from August all the way into now. The tension down in the Caribbean Sea between the United States armies and the Venezuelan armies. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but it is not yet. Matthew 24 and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, which goes to ethnos, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. So as it says once again from RT.com, November 13, 2025 degrees, Pentagon top brass offers Trump new military options for Venezuela. CBS News reports. The U.S. administration is now reportedly considering airstrikes, but no final decision has been made. Right, so these are wars, rumors of wars. It says, oh, that's something else. It says Poland could be a threat to Germany. Opposition leader has said. If so, that'd be nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. It's the book of what's that, Saint Mark. But we definitely seeing these Edomite nations be at war with one another. Sometimes they might be friends, then sometimes they be enemies. St. Mark chapter 3 verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom not stand. Right, that's what we see in modern day kingdoms, modern day nations being divided, especially Esau, Edom, the Edomites. St. Mark chapter 3 verse 25. And if a house be divided against itself, the house not stand. St. Mark 3 verse 26. And if Satan rises against itself, be divided, cannot stand to have an end. Right, that's what we see. It's the book of Luke 12 and verse, the Gospel of Luke 12, the Gospel of Luke 12. Yeah, the Gospel of Luke 21 verse 25, I meant to say. And there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth. Transgressive nations will perplex the sea rich born. Right, that's what it's saying. It says the Israeli troop forces Palestinians into explosive land tunnels, recruiters reports. NATO members refuse to back EU attacks on Russia assets, which I'm kind of surprised about that. The African Union rejects Trump claims of unalive in Nigeria. It says U.S. is running out of sanctions. U.S. is running out of things to sanctions Russia, Rubio reports. Right, because you think about those economical sanctions, it's not really affecting Russia like that. So since that's been mentioned, yep, Isaiah chapter 13 verse 17, because you're still gonna have the tension between Russia and the United States, especially these nuclear arms race for last week. Isaiah 13 verse 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Right, so the Russians rise against the Medes. The Russians are the Medes rise against Babylon. It's gonna happen once again. It said, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which they shall regard as silver, and as for gold, and they shall not delight in it. Isaiah 13, verse 18, and their bows also shall dash the young men's, those bows, those arrows, those missiles, to dash their young men into pieces. They shall have no pity of the fruit of thy womb, and thy eyes shall not spare children. Ezekiel chapter 38. It's the prophet Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 4. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hosts into thy jaws. We bring thee forth in all thy army, horse and horsemen, all of them clothed for all sorts of armor, even a great company of shoes, all of them handling swords. Right, so the Heavenly Father is going to continue to put the hooks and bash the jaws of these Russians to continue to be in that warlike mindset. Just like that news article I read from RT.com, it was saying that Russia is going to continue to use military force against Ukraine. Since there, talk's been on the table ever since last July. So ever since then, Russia is going to continue building up their military strength against Ukraine, and then the tension between the European Union and NATO together in the Western countries going against Russia, and then Russia versus the United States of a nuclear arms race is going to continue to increase. And this is the prophet Joel. It's the prophet Joel chapter 3 verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Right, just like you had top officials from the United States or from the Trump administration offering options of a potential airstrikes and nuclear strikes in deeper inside of Venezuela. And then day before yesterday, you had a large military mobilization from the guerrilla warfare from the Venezuelans. So they on standby because the tension been heating up ever since the past 3.5 months, from August all into now. And then we see the tensions between North Korea versus South Korea, Japan, United States, that's heating up. We see in China versus Taiwan, that's heating up. We see in China and the Philippines, that's heating up. We see in the tensions on back again between Thailand and Cambodia. So these are wars and rumors of wars. And we see in the Heavenly Father's putting that warlike mindset back on these nations. Despite the fact they're trying to ease the tensions, despite the fact they're trying to have ceasefires, long-term agreements, but these tensions are escalating right back up. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, right? This is being proclaimed among the armies of the Gentiles, or the armies of the other nations. Prepare war, wake up the mighty man. Let all the men of war draw near and let them come up. So with that, hopefully this sit-down lesson was edifying of the prophecy updates. Sloppy. Hopefully this sit-down lesson was edifying of the prophecy updates as of November the 13th, 2025 on this Thursday afternoon. So with that, I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Makakadash, and the Heavenly Father. True name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son Ba'Hashem, in the name of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashon Kadash Luton. And Barak Thumb to the elders and apostles, Ba'akim Aqua. Until next time, I would say Shalom.
This is pretty good. It might be scary what very good is, Shay. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.